you so much for watching these two guys. This video is just to give you a better idea of how we work with Frankie and Oscar at home, how we're training them, and some of their quirks. Now, Frankie, I just wanted to point this out really quick. He has a great digestive system. He'll probably need to poo on the morning walk and the evening walk, and he'll need to go pee a couple of times in the afternoon. He did have a little bit of a rough neuter. Oscar's always first when we're coming back inside. Both dogs are not allowed in the kitchen when I'm cooking or when I'm preparing their food. They know the word out. Here is breakfast time. Oscar first. They are sitting before they get their food, and I keep it separate. They're more than willing to share the space. They're more than willing to share a bowl. They have no food reactivity whatsoever between the two of them, but it is a good way to make sure they feel like they're getting their fair share. And after breakfast, they do like to lick each other's bowls, and that's fine. And the next thing we do, again, they stay out of the kitchen. But this is where they get their multivitamin chews and their dental bones. So here's an example of paw. They both know paw. And again, Oscar first. And then I'll either give them their dental bones with the paw, or I may just hand it to them. And they're so cute, the way they lay down, and Oscar runs off. After that, they get their eyes cleaned. Oscar's eyes are a little gookier. I sped this up. He's not a big fan of this, but he will tolerate it for a treat. And Frankie really doesn't care. He'll do whatever Oscar does, and he's fine to wait, and his eyes aren't too bad either. So I'll give them both a little treat with paw afterward, and you can see they're in the kitchen for this, and so that's totally fine. I just don't like them underfoot when I'm cooking or preparing meals. I don't want them to get hurt or anything like that, and it's just good manners. So there they are with their blueberries. They actually got blueberries after this one. And then when we go out in the backyard in the afternoons or the late morning, it's always Oscar first. This is where Frankie can be a bit of a bulldozer, so I might move him away with my foot. And then I remind them both to sit, because Frankie thinks it's his job to protect us all from the evil squirrels. That's what he's looking for there. And you may need to tell him no bark. You may need to get between him and the squirrel. Here we are leaving. So this is where they get something called a yum yum treat. Be careful when you say those three words, because they both know what it means and they both get really excited when they hear that. What this is basically just some yogurt and some peanut butter frozen overnight. I have a little water that I stirred in and some applesauce. You can do just like a couple tablespoons of whatever, but if you can freeze it overnight and then put it in these little lick'em bowls, they love it. As you can see, they don't even care that I'm leaving, and Frankie used to have some pretty bad separation anxiety, but here they are after their yum yum treat on, this is the FurboCam. So they're usually sleeping, but sometimes they'll play like this in their bed, sometimes they'll play like this in the hallway, but most of the time they're just passed out after their lick'em treat. Frankie likes to find trouble. So this is him with a bag of recycling stuck on his neck. He's a very, very curious boy, and he likes to stick his head into everything, but he's not destructive. He does have a bad habit of eating gross things. As you probably know, worms, geckos, baby frogs. Try drop it. You may need to dig your finger in there from time to time. And this is just an example of what we do with them at dinner. We put them in something called place. Oscar knows that word very well. Frankie's still learning it a bit. We like to give them another small licky treat, or sometimes we don't give them anything and we put them in a place and they stay right there. So you could use just a simple treat. And this is just to show you that their biggest quirk is a little bit of leash reactivity. So they're kind of getting a talking to here because they're both going nuts, and I make them sit and I make them calm down before we go anywhere. A lot of times we'll just turn and walk away because they're very reactive toward other dogs. Here they are playing. Most of the time they're playing or snuggling. They love each other so much, and they're so funny. This is how Oscar likes to instigate Frankie, and a lot of times they just love to cuddle and share the same space, and it's absolutely adorable. Thank you so much for watching these guys. I hope this helped.